while she's in assisted living.
And then because I'm the only person in town, she calls me for everything. And then there's an expectation that we check in on her every day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot. It's a lot.
It's a lot. So when did you realize okay, yeah, I'm part of this sandwich generation?
My older one was a senior and living his best life with his fraternity brothers, and the other one, my younger one, is a film student, and he had to pass this foundation review to stay in the film school. It's like a rite of passage sort of thing, and was stressing out. So I would be getting text messages from him like, I can't live on a $10 an hour job the rest of my life and expect to pay my adult bills. And then that meant that I needed to go and have dinner with him and talk him off the ledge until this foundation review was over. And then at the same time, my mom is calling and saying oh, the physical therapist isn't putting through my referrals. And I'm like, well, call somebody else, and that's when it sort of hit me yes, that's why this feels so hard right now.
Welcome to Three Little Fishes. We're three sisters who grew up in the Midwest together, but have since spread across the country. I live in Los Angeles.
I'm in Nashville.
And I live in Philadelphia. We are all married with children, have all had careers, but now we stay at home with our families.
Join us as we share secrets and stories about being women, wives, and mothers.
We welcome you to laugh along, learn something new, reach out, and join our conversation.
So let's jump in.
What's up, fishes?
What's up, fishes?
Hello.
What's happening? Any news to share?
Well, the big news is our last child is graduating on Saturday, and I get to see all my people this week. So you girls are coming, mom and dad are coming, our friend Todd is coming, Sabrina's boyfriend is here. So we're going to have a full house, and it's going to be a lot of fun to see everybody.
Road trip to Nashville.
We're not bringing our families. It's just the sisters are traveling.
Mhm.
So sadly, my people are sad that they're not coming, but they still have school.
I know. It
Yeah.
stinks.
So do my kids.
Not
So I have
funny.
to take the hit for everybody.
Yeah. Shoot.
Please.
Yay.
It is rough, Nancy.
I know. All right, y'all. Before we get into it, I just want to remind everybody to subscribe, and invite your favorite fishes to jump into our conversation. Today, we're going to be talking about the sandwich generation, what's the buzz, and what's for dinner. Okay, what's the buzz, you all? Well, the first thing I want to mention is I feel a little sad about it. President Biden announced that he has cancer.
Yeah, I
That's
feel like that was
unfortunate.
a miss. It's in his
I
bone
agree. Yeah.
Yeah.
He was president just a few months ago. I know that they do physicals. How did they miss that? I feel
now.
like
Yeah, were they
whoever,
not checking his prostate or what's
that's
up with that?
that's a simple blood test.
I don't totally know, but I will say I feel like we know from our experience with our parents, like some of the older generation, they don't pay attention to symptoms, right? You my mom, no offense, mom, but you're the best at it's nothing, it's
Yeah.
this or that, so it's I think it's easy to kind of shake things off.
Yeah.
And I think it's unfortunate. So I'm sorry. Hopefully.
Yeah, I was sad to hear that.
This is not pop culture, but I will tell you that I did restart my sourdough starter. So I am on day 5. It's looking really
I would
happy.
like some of that if it works this time.
It's working. What do you mean if it works?
By the way,
It's
I
working
want you
great.
to share it with me.
So it's really happy right now, day 5. So stay tuned.
All right, I'm happy for you. In other pop culture news, Christy Teigen. Christy Teigen. Is that Teigen?
Mhm.
Yeah, Christy Teigen just came out saying that she is no longer sober, that she has fallen off the wagon.
Mhm.
And she is saying, what did she say? She said that she feels like she's 100% better person sober, and that she doesn't enjoy waking up on a Tuesday sick with a headache, that she says, I just want to be one of those people that can go to a party and have a drink, but I can't. The one drink turns into 8. And so now she's committed again to living a sober life. But I
Okay.
was sad to hear that she really struggles with this, but I thought it was super brave that she's owning it and saying, listen, this is my journey, and maybe she can get some support from other people to, get back on the track that she wants to be.
You can do it, Christy.
I know you can.
You can do it.
All right. Speaking of alcohol, for those who are not trying to live a sober life, have you heard this challenge on TikTok? If you're a wine drinker, that you drink Sauvignon Blanc or Rosé, that you slice a jalapeno pepper, and if you slice a jalapeno pepper and put it in your wine, it's supposed to be amazing.
Is it a jalapeno or jalapeno?
Jalapeno.
Jalapeno. I can't say it. How do you say it? Jalapeno.
Nancy, jalapeno.
Anyway, I don't know why you would want to put that in your wine. I can drink a glass of wine without having a problem.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to do that, I can't imagine I would enjoy that pepper in my wine.
Okay, I would
Linda,
not.
you also drink wine.
I do.
Would you do
I
this
mean, I
challenge?
will give it a try. Maybe we can give it a try together since we'll be together in a couple days and see how it goes. And then we'll report back. I'm in.
All right.
I will not try that. I will not.
Well,
I don't
you
know.
are a no pepper girl.
Kathy, I love that you are very much, no, I'm not doing an Amazon challenge. Nope. I'm not doing a pepper.
Well, I had a little thing yesterday at school, and there was like a little pepper. We were having Chinese for lunch, and they had this little red pepper, and all I did was sniff it, and I had maybe just a teeny smidge of it. It caused me to have like an asthma attack right there at the table. And my friend was like, are you choking? She like literally was like, are you all right? And I honestly, it was so embarrassing. I was like, no, I'm going to be okay. But like, I can't
no
do
peppers
a jalapeno.
for you.
Kathy, why was it embarrassing? You were just having a coughing fit. Why is that embarrassing?
Because everyone in the lunchroom was like staring at me because I was coughing so much. She's like, are you having an emergency?
911.
You're like my Johanna. We took Riley to see the LAFC Galaxy game. It's a soccer game, and it's a very big rivalry. And after the game, I was dancing to some music, and Johanna got in front of me, put her hand up, and was like, stop, people are looking. And I was like, oh, nobody's looking. She's like, you're embarrassing me.
Oh,
I couldn't
gosh, you've crossed the threshold. Like,
yeah,
I would say a year ago, she would have been
adolescent.
dancing with you, and now she's there. She's hitting those teen years. Yep.
Oh, yikes.
Yeah,
Wow.
that's sad.
It's brutal.
So you all, and the other news, do you all remember when we talked about Kiss and Gene Simmons said that you could be a roadie for what was $12,500?
Yeah.
And I was like, I had a very strong opinion about it, that I would never do that.
Yeah.
Well, the man who bought it with his son, his 13-year-old son, and they just had the experience, and they were just talking to him about, and they're like, listen, you just spent $12,500 for this kiss experience. What was it like? He was like, it was worth every penny. My son is a big fan, and to be able to do this with him, it was life-changing. And Gene Simmons was very lovely. He's just like, listen, I had to retire. I have MS. So I'm just trying to leave my son with good memories, have some good experiences. I'm not going to die a rich man, but I'm going to die a man with lots of memories.
Yeah. No regrets. I love it.
No regrets. So I thought that's a good
perspective.
Great.
Is that like just an evening experience? Is it just a one night thing?
I mean, I don't know. I think that Gene Simmons had them. I think he probably has the show at night. I'm not sure, but they have to come in and set up. And then I think he had dinner with them in his dressing room. They hung out. they got to play on the instruments, and I think he tried to give them a full experience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
If you like Kiss or not, Gene Simmons is a master marketer. And I do think like he seems like a
yeah,
nice guy. I mean, but I mean, if
I
this
mean, I don't
person was,
know.
I mean, you
I
got
have
to
no
be able to
idea.
spend your money however you want. And it sounds
Exactly.
like this
Yeah.
guy, it
Yeah.
was really important to him. So good for you. I'm
Yeah.
not doing it, but good for you.
All right, you guys. So this pushes us to our next segment. Let's jump into the sandwich generation.
The term sandwich generation refers to young and middle aged adults who are at the same time raising children and then supporting their aging parents. So in the US, about 25% of the population are a part of the sandwich generation. So, I mean, that's a quarter. So
Yeah, it's a
that's a
lot.
good chunk. That's a
A
good
lot.
chunk of people.
I just recently had my in-laws were my father-in-law in particular got sick, and so my husband had to go down to Florida. He didn't have to. He went down to Florida to take care of them. I manned the farm here, and it just really got me thinking about how hard it is to sort of like support people who are medically need help and then also support the kids like they're coming home from school. We're going to we have graduation this weekend. We have like a lot of balls in the air and it's taxing. So we invited a really good friend of ours, Jane Milner. She lives in Wisconsin. We all went to camp together, worked at camp, we're campers together. We've known her for a long time. And she is the quintessential sandwich generation person, helping her elderly mother, but then also supporting her two college age sons. So we want to welcome Jane Milner to our show.
Hi, Jane. Welcome to Three Little Fishes. We're happy you're
Hi,
here.
Jane.
Thank you. Hi, girls.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome.
So, for our listeners, Jane is one of our camp friends. We all worked at Clearwater Camp for Girls in Monaco, Wisconsin, like 35 years ago
Long time
together.
ago.
Just a
Mhm.
big
Well,
number.
I didn't work with you, but I know you from there.
Yes.
Yeah, you were a
Yeah.
camper. We won't tell the
That's right.
stories, but
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
we know. Yeah.
So, anyway, Jane is here to talk to us about the sandwich generation. So, Jane, tell me a little bit about your caregiving responsibilities with your family now.
Yeah, so I'm definitely like the meat and the cheese right now. I have my kids who are they're well, one's now as of Sunday out of college and one is in the middle. And then I have my mom who is 94 as of last week, and she was totally independent until a year ago. She had a stroke. So while she's in assisted living, she appreciates that we check in on her like every day. And so
Mhm.
there's a facility, they take good care of her. But my sister and I are the financial power of attorney, and there is a lot of work to do around that. And then because I'm the only person in town, she calls me for everything. And then there's an expectation that we check in on her every day.
Mhm.
So it's a lot. It's a lot, and I'm of the four of us, me and my three siblings. I'm the only non-retired person, but I'm the only local person. So
Gosh,
Oh gosh,
there's
that's a lot.
it's a
responsibility.
lot. So, when did you like realize, like, okay, yeah, I'm part of this sandwich generation?
You hear about it, and I think I'd heard that term, and I never really thought about maybe even what it was, or and then this fall, we had a couple things. So my older one was a senior and like living his best life with his like fraternity brothers. And the other one, my younger one, is a film student, and he had to pass this foundation review to stay in the film school. It's like a rite of passage sort of thing, and was stressing out. So I would be getting text messages from him like, I can't live on a $10 an hour job the rest of my life and expect to pay my adult bills. And then that meant that I needed to go and have dinner with him and, talk him off the ledge until this foundation review was over. And he passed, right? And then at the same time, my mom is calling and saying like, oh, the physical therapist isn't putting through my referrals because they don't think I'm making enough progress. And I'm like, well, call somebody else, and that's when it sort of hit me like, yes, that's why this feels so hard right now.
Feels like you're being pulled in a lot of different directions, particularly emotionally.
Yeah.
So how do you feel like how challenging is that? And then also if you're taking care of everybody else's emotional needs, how are you tending to yourself?
Yeah, I don't do that very well. I think probably Sean gets what's left over of me.
So, and Sean, and just for people who don't know, Sean is your husband. Yeah.
Yep, he is. Yeah. He's been great. Like he's been so nice about all of that. We're supposed to be enjoying our empty nest, and um, I get home at 7:30 and I'm exhausted, and so but we make time to play tennis, and that's probably the one thing that's saving me right now is like work, tennis. Those are places where I can go to get away and not worry about those things. Um, we are in a place where I'm getting better about telling my sister, or asking my sister in a telling way, can you make this phone call? Can you do this? Can you do that? And even one of my brothers is helpful that way too. Like they don't live here, and so, but like they can still use the phone.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you help me, please?
Yeah.
That's been helpful. So I just have to like figure it out. I have to kind of like name it to figure it out. And Sean's been good about helping me figure that out too. He's like, you can't do everything for everybody. It's not going to work, And so if I can like name what it is, then he can help me like problem solve.
But you're still carrying the mental load of that, like organization and
Yeah.
filtering it all out and organizing it and all that stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a lot to manage.
I like what you just said. Once I name it, then I can make progress. I can make a decision to help me and help the
Yeah.
situation. And I was
Mhm.
also just wondering, what would happen if you saw your mom every other day? What would
Well,
that be like?
Well, first of all, I have to say that like I have a woman who grew up next door to me who she goes every Monday night to visit my mom, and she also like decorates her apartment. If you follow me on social media, like she dressed my mom up for graduation because my mom couldn't go to William's graduation, and she like dressed her up and got her hooked up on YouTube so she could watch William graduate.
Amazing.
And yeah, so like Monday nights when I play tennis, she goes and visits my mom and like helps her out, and then her mom goes on Wednesdays when I play tennis. So I'm not there like every night, but someone is there, and we've had people covering for a year, right? Like so. I have a friend of mine from work who goes when, like if I have something else come up, she'll drop in there. And, my mom has a lot of people who love her, right?
Yeah.
So people are willing to step up and visit her and help her. And do we have to? No, but at the end of the day, she appreciates it when
Yeah.
people, and I think, the people there, it's a good place. um but the people who work there, like we've gone and there are bruises on her arm, or someone lifted her in a wrong way and ripped her clothes, or something was stolen from her room, or there seemed to always kind of be something happening, and I feel like that
Yeah.
happens less when they know someone is coming at the end of the day. People are nicer to her when we're there, And so, do we have to show up every day? No. But does it make a difference if we do? Yes. So like, um, and she's 94 and she's been kind to people her whole life. I feel like she's
Yeah.
owed that. I also know that like
Yeah.
when my dad was sick all those years ago, his one big thing, and I was young, like I was in my early 20s, and he kept saying to me like, I don't want to go to a home. I don't want to go to a home. And I was like, yeah, like you can stay on my futon, like no big deal. But um obviously then we could take care of him, but like now all these years later, like that's in my mind, like she doesn't want to just be dropped off at a home, like and left there.
Yeah.
And so there's
Right.
there's that part of me that feels like, yeah, I don't have to go every night, and we do have people willing to help out. um but I do think it matters that she has someone at the end of the day to debrief her day with,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
you
I
know
think it's great you go. That I'm sure she
yeah,
really appreciates that.
she sure does.
You said that you have financial power of attorney, you and your sisters do.
Yeah,
So
my sister,
will
yeah.
you tell us like what kind of pressures are you feeling from being the power of attorney?
Yeah, that's probably the most stressful part. She is out of money. My dad's been gone, like 33 years, and
Long
she's lived a long
time.
time
Yeah.
without him. And it costs $9,000 a month at this assisted living place. And so any
Oh
savings she
wow.
Yeah.
had is now gone. And so she has a house that she wants to go back to, but she she can't because she can't walk yet. But so we're trying to keep the house, but she's out of money. So my siblings and I have been like gifting her money. So we had to meet with a lawyer to get like some documentation so that when we eventually do sell the house, we'll get that money back. But to try to get her, I would say like the money piece, but it's also figuring out the resources, like to get her she just started on Medicaid, because you can be on Medicaid and have a house if your intent is to go back to the house. So, but then they sort of make it so that you can't really afford to keep the house. So it's all a
Oh.
mess. But then we hooked up with the ADRC, that's the Aging and Disability Resource Center. And so like those are the people for free that will tell you who you need to talk to for everything.
So if you were giving somebody advice is at the front end of this,
Hmm.
what would your advice be to get ahead of it financially?
Well, we put all of her stuff in a trust. That was really smart on her part, and have that trust in place. Our problem with that was that it was 1 year before her stroke instead of 5. That would have been helpful. Um, but but you don't know when that's going to happen. So the sooner the better. If you're 40, 50, whatever, put your stuff in a trust. And then contact the ADRC if you run into anything like this, where they can help you navigate that. Like they may not be the right person, but they can tell you who the right person is, and they're not going to cost you
Right.
thousands of dollars in the process.
Does the facility where your mom lives, do they have social workers there that are a good resource for you to help connect you also with different services you may need, or do you find that they don't really help?
Nope, they don't. And what we found after her stroke, um,
Well, that's disappointing.
yeah, yeah. What we found was like at the hospital, they were very helpful. The second hospital, not helpful. We essentially were like, What are you doing?" Okay, and then we made all the phone calls ourselves, and to try to get her into like the next level rehab. center, and then that social worker wasn't helpful, so we made the phone calls, and Sean did all the visits to the places to figure out where we wanted her, and then we made those phone calls too. And then like we sort of did all that legwork ourselves. Once we knew what the legwork was, we sort of did that.
Yeah.
So you are really fortunate in that you are in town with them.
Yeah.
Darman and Renee, they live in Peoria. I'm in Nashville. Kathy's in Philly. Nancy's in LA. And then my in-laws too are in Florida. And, Rich's sibling is in the Chicagoland area. At some point, we have to get to them when they need us. How do you kind of manage that with your siblings?
Yeah.
Do you try to ask them to come visit? Do you get on the phone? How do you do that?
For us, if we went on spring break and I asked my siblings, I sent a group text, hey, we're going to be gone for a week. Can someone come down and hang with mom? And my brother and his wife came down and stayed with her for that week. And I think, it kind of depends. I'm thinking about your parents, and I would say there are going to be times where they need you more than other times, right? So sometimes my siblings will just take turns calling on different days, and then they know I'm there, right? So that's fine. And you guys might say okay, I'm going to call on these days, but then there might be other times where maybe there's a medical emergency, or maybe there's a bigger medical situation where someone should be there with them. Then you take turns kind of being there, but otherwise just kind of covering via phones, right? You can kind of check in that way.
Well, we do. In all fairness, we do have David. We have a brother who lives relatively close to our parents, so I guess he could get to them first if there's an emergency. But Jane, yeah, what I'm hearing and what I really am thinking about is that we probably need to start thinking about a plan, because at some point things will go sideways and do go sideways. And how can you plan for it? Like you mentioned that you wish your mom had a trust. I think our parents have some things set up, but I don't know all the ins and outs. What would that look like when they go sideways? What's the first response? Maybe I'm hearing that having a plan put in place the best you can would be helpful.
Yeah, and having people know the plan is really important too, I think. My mom's plan was I'll just call Jane, and which I mean, I figured that was the plan, but and then I was sort of when she called, and then I was do I text my siblings? What do I do with that? And then I was yeah, so mom fell. Maybe she had a stroke. I don't know. I'll let you know. And they were what? And then it was just, we didn't have a plan. She might have had a plan we didn't know. And so, yeah, if they have one, that'd be great.
Right.
And then they should tell people what it is. That'd be good.
Yeah. I'm curious about your relationships with your other siblings. How has that affected your family?
Yeah.
Is it stronger? Is it straining?
Families are tricky, right? Yeah, I would say so. I would say my sister and I are probably closer. We talk more. We've had to problem solve a lot. I would say it's really strained. It's really hard because because people far away are dealing with this in a really different way. They might feel guilty for not being here, but it comes out in a different way. It doesn't come out as guilt. It comes out frustration or whatever. And so, it's whatever it is, it is. And I guess to save my own mental health, I just sort of go I'm living in the moment, and I go and I spend time with her, and she's hilarious and awesome, and they're missing out, and too bad for them. And it's a little stressful, but she's not here forever. And I know that. And like, too bad. And so I just like enjoy wherever I am. Right now I'm talking to my camp friends and I get to talk to my camp friends. And then like
Aw.
later I'm gonna go play tennis and then I'm gonna go hang with my mom and then I'm gonna hang with my family and like wherever I am, it's gonna be good, right? Like that's where I have to be.
That's a good way to think about it.
Very healthy.
Yeah, otherwise I
Yeah.
could like
You
just
s-
sit in the corner and cry. I could do that too if I wanted, but that's not as fun, you know? Like it's way
Yeah.
more fun to
Right.
be present.
But
Yeah.
Jane, I was also thinking about something I was processing in my head, like what you said about that you always want somebody to check in on her, and it's
Yeah.
just nice. And as putting my social worker hat on, I always feel very strongly that way about a hospital. Like if anybody's in a hospital, I don't ever want them left alone for those
Yeah.
reasons. Even though there's competent people there, it just is
Mhm.
better to have a caregiver there. So it
Yeah.
would totally make sense to me why it's so important for you to have lay eyes on her every single day. I think that's super
Yeah.
smart and super caring. And she's lucky to
She's
have
lucky to have you.
such a
Yeah.
support team.
You
Well,
seem like you have a lot
ladies,
of weight on your shoulders, but you're
yeah, I
handling
mean,
it very well.
you guys haven't met Mandy, but she is just like the sweetest, most fun. Jane gets her sense of humor, I think, in a large part from Mandy, her mom. So, she's a wonderful woman and she's lucky to have you looking
Yeah,
after her.
she recruited a new piano student last week. Henry is a new CNA who gets her up in the morning and he plays the guitar and he saw her keyboard and her piano books and he was like, "Hey, I want to learn how to play piano." And she was like, "Okay, when does your shift end?" So now he stays after his shift and they work on the piano. So yeah, she got a new student.
Aw.
Oh,
That's
I
cool.
love
Yeah,
that. That's so
I
yeah,
know.
sweet.
She's
Good for them
amazing.
both.
She's just a
yeah,
great woman. So
yeah,
I hope she
yeah.
continues to get better and stronger so she can have the fullest life she can possibly have.
Thank
Jane,
you.
thanks for coming on and
Yes.
sharing a little bit of what's going on in your life and helping us maybe think about some things that we could take away and take into our life.
Yeah, you're welcome.
It was so good to see our friend Jane, and I thought that she gave some really good information. And I thought a really smart thing that she said was, it's best to be present that caregivers see that these loved ones are cared for, and if you are able to do that for them, that's the best. So that was a nugget that I really thought was important.
Yeah, we just had something happen to my in-laws, and one way I tried to help support them was to send them some meals. And I did use two companies that I felt like did a great job, and my in-laws told me that the food was very good. So Spoonful of Comfort does a variety of soups and cookies and things like that, and so that was great. And then the Southern Baking Pie Company, I sent little mini pot pies. They have all different kinds of flavors. They have quiche. They have all kinds of things that you can send to whoever needs it. So I thought I think it was helpful for them to not have to actually prepare something, and it was special. So
Yeah.
we'll put those links in the show notes. So that brings us to what's for dinner. Because we're talking about the sandwich generation, it's only appropriate to post a sandwich recipe for people.
I love a Cuban sandwich,
Me
and so do my
too.
people. My people
Me
love a Cuban,
too.
and you know what else they love? They also love a Reuben.
Me
It's
too.
so delicious. So if I'm gonna really like do like a sandwich night, I kind of try to do more of like something we wouldn't have every day of the week. So I
Right.
would do like a Cuban or like a Reuben, and everybody would be excited about that.
I don't normally do a sandwich night, but every once in a while, in the winter in particular, I'll do grilled cheese and tomato soup. And I
Oh
don't use
yeah,
American cheese. I shake it up with like sharp cheddar and Munster or Havarti or something like that. So it's like kind of bougie.
yeah,
It's delicious with
Yeah.
yum.
sourdough bread. Yum.
Sourdough and grilled cheese is awesome.
I was
So
going to say,
good.
whenever I think of a grilled cheese, I think of Kathy, because whenever it gets a little cold and I'm with her, she's like, "Oh, let's have a grilled cheese and tomato soup." And
You
she puts
do.
you put a ton of pepper on it, which is so funny to me, like black pepper, because you won't touch a jalapeno, as we've discussed. Did I say it right?
In the tomato soup, you mean?
Right.
Yeah.
It's like
Oh,
covered
God.
and it's like it looks like a layer of black. It's so peppery. So it's so funny. It's kind of the same as like you won't eat onions, but you'll eat onion rings. So it's
Yeah.
so funny to me.
Well, I don't know. Carson really likes pepper. So he and I usually eat grilled cheese and tomato soup together. So he likes me to pepper it up.
Kathy, would you ever eat a Reuben sandwich?
I don't know if I would. I think Peter does.
Oh my gosh,
Oh.
good Reuben is delicious.
So
Because
good.
doesn't it have like Swiss cheese in it? I don't like
It does.
Swiss.
It has Swiss cheese and it has sauerkraut and Thousand Island dressing.
Yeah,
and
I
it's
don't
all
like
grilled
sauerkraut.
together.
Yeah, no. Let's no.
What's wrong with you? You're German. You've got like German.
That's so sad.
Sorry.
Oh,
We'll post a Cuban sandwich for everyone to enjoy.
Okay, sounds good.
delicious.
Sounds
Delicious.
good. Love a Cuban.
We want to thank you for listening to our podcast and letting us sisters jump into your day. Please make sure to follow, rate, and review us. Have a wonderful Memorial Day weekend. Be safe. Sisters out.